on CBS 2. Sponsored by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
And hello again, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Sports Central Saturday. I'm Jim Hill, joined by former USC running back Stafon Johnson, so you'll have to excuse him if he kind of wanders off to tonight's game out in Pasadena. And ESPN LA's Alan Sliwa. Gentlemen, thank you so much. First of all, Stafon, let's just talk a little bit about what we just saw. Another fabulous performance by Georgia's defense today. The defending champions look like they are clearly the best team in the country.
They play lights out. I think Kentucky came in is playing this with all kind of different offensive schemes to try to test them out, try to see how they're going. The Bulldogs' offense wasn't clicking on all cylinders as they wanted to, but the defense definitely stepped up for them.
Speaking of defense, Alan, that's what I'd like for you to talk about because they were dominant. They were great. They were wonderful.
Sometimes we get so caught up in what offenses do in college football, what they do in the NFL. Jim, sometimes you just got to play some old school football. That's what Georgia does. They run the ball great. They play good defense. Another W for them tonight.
And the Bulldogs control the game on the ground, led by running back Kenny McIntosh.
I love watching that type of football. I know we get, I get it. It's sexy to see the big plays. It's sexy to see the 40-yard passing plays. But I love just watching some smash-mouth football, and that's what Georgia does.
Were you having kind of flashbacks yourself?
Absolutely. Those 5s and 2s and fews definitely makes up the football game. It keeps the clock running. And when you're having these games and when you're not having too many big plays, this works perfect in your game planning.
And there's a lot of celebration that's going on right now, isn't there?
Absolutely, absolutely. To keep on winning and keep on withholding that number one spot in the country, just keep giving these W's week in and week out, keep getting better. The sky's the limit for these kids.
You have to excuse him if he jumps in every once in a while throughout the course of the next hour because there's more than bragging rights on the line this evening at the Rose Bowl when USC goes against UCLA in a crosstown rivalry. Both the Trojans and the Bruins still have a path to the Pac-12 championship game. USC clinches a berth with a victory, while UCLA would still need some help in order to reach the conference championship game in Las Vegas on December the 2nd. While the Bruins know plenty about the rivalry, the Trojans have plenty of first-timers, including head coach Lincoln Riley.
We're not doing anything, honestly, too specific with this rivalry. I mean, and not to discount it in any way. I mean, I think we've acknowledged that this game, in some ways, is going to feel different, right? We've acknowledged that it is a rivalry game. There's a lot of history behind it. It's going to be a great game to play in. But past that, I think we're really zeroed in on what we believe is going to help us play well, and that's where our focus is going to be.
We're excited. You know, I think that's the one of the reasons you come to play at a place like this is to be able to play in games like that. It's supposed to be a great crowd, great atmosphere.
Going on my 5th year here, being with this rivalry, I obviously know it's at stake, trying to teach my younger teammates the tradition and everything that goes along into this game. Obviously, we hate those guys across town. There's a bitter feeling with those guys, but at the end of the day, we have to come out here and play Bruin football.
Haven't learned much, though, to be honest with you. Treating it like another game. It's another game to me. I've been in other big rivalry games so far in my career, so treating it like another game.
You really believe that, treated like another game? You can expect a lot of offense at the Rose Bowl this evening with both USC and UCLA in the top 10 in the country in points per game and yards per game. The teams have combined for nearly 82 points and more than 1,000 yards per game in each of the last 3 matchups. All right, my friends, to get us set for tonight's action, what do you say we go out to Chris Hayre now, who's live at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena? Chris.
Jim, a picture-perfect evening in Pasadena for the 92nd installment of this rivalry. It's hard to believe it was 62-33 in the Bruins' favor last year. And I'll tell you, for this USC team, there are so many new guys, 25-plus new transfers coming in here. They clinch a Pac-12 championship appearance and maybe more. Maybe we're talking top 4 college football playoff with a win. I caught up with Ryan Abraham of USC football, and he says these Trojans, it's more about taking care of business over the rivalry.
Yeah, it's a little measured approach, Chris. You got a lot of guys on this USC team that are new, that aren't really familiar with the rivalry, but they have bigger sights in their sights. They want to go to the Pac-12 championship game in Las Vegas. So the rivalry's great, but they really want to win this Pac-12 championship, and they got to beat UCLA to get there.
What do you think the key is for USC if they want to get to that Pac-12 championship game? Starts tonight.
I think they're going to be offensively, they'll be okay. Caleb Williams and company, even without Travis Dye, it's really on the defensive side. Zach Charbonnet, DTR, so explosive. They have to control it. They're good at forcing negative plays and really being opportunistic. So if they can do that a few times and get a few stops, they should be okay.
What are you expecting tonight?
I actually think UCLA's got a really good chance at this one. Obviously, not that the home thing is going to matter too much, but Dye being injured, the SC's running game is going to be compromised. But kind of the other part of this is that SC hasn't been able to stop anybody, right? And so, they're going to have to score 50-plus points probably if they're going to win. Not saying they can't do that, but if I were to kind of look top to bottom on both teams, I like UCLA's depth a little bit better.
Well, I'm with Dylan on this. There's going to be a lot of points scored today, Jim. They combine for 81 points per game. And I think the strength versus strength here, Zach Charbonnet in that UCLA running game against Caleb Williams, Jordan Addison in that USC passing game. And I have to ask Stafon, do you really think that USC is taking a measured approach to a game against UCLA? That's hard for me to believe, Stafon.
I think you definitely have to take this approach. I think when you put too much emphasis on the football game, especially as you said, 25-plus players coming in for the first time going into this rival, you have to take it as a normal game, as a game that you just have to play it like you played last week. Now, I will tell you, for the ones that's been like myself, I've been up since 6:30 this morning ready for this, so easy for me to say, right?
All right, Chris. Thank you very much.
No question about it.
Yeah, that's really amazing. Chris, thank you very much. All right, Stafon, let's go a little further now. Does either defense have a chance at slowing down the opposing offense? Because it's almost like these two teams are going to tilt the scoreboard.
Yeah, we got to definitely stop the fireworks. We got to definitely stop the bleeding. We got two explosive offenses. I think the Achilles heel in the past for USC has definitely been a running quarterback. Being able to try to stop the stop the quarterback from moving around, and hopefully that the Caleb and company, we can be able to throw the ball a little bit more to our playmakers on the outside to kind of catch up and kind of mimic a lot of the things that they're going to kind of do.
And Alan, it just may come down to a takeaway.
I was just going to say, if turnovers could be the difference of the game, right? Because if you're not getting stops and you get one mistake from UCLA or one mistake from USC, that could dictate what happens.
High-scoring game?
Definitely a high-scoring game. I think the USC playing it's not a rivalry thing, all that stuff, by halftime, they're going to feel that atmosphere at the Rose Bowl. It will be a rivalry by that point.
They're trying to low-key it, but we know better than that.
Yeah, absolutely. But, like I said, I think Coach has done a great job just kind of calming them down and letting them know just play the game as it comes. Because if you win this game, you have some more bigger games moving forward. So you don't want to put too much emphasis on this game. Just like I said, stop the firework, be calm, relax, and try to get this W out of this great team in UCLA.
You've been there. You've done that in this game, so you know what it's like.
Well, the atmosphere is going to be rocking and rolling. It's going to be loud. It's going to be 100 plus in there. It's going to be on both sides. I think that one time the atmosphere was so crazy. I think we got into a fight in the middle of the field, like just jaw-jacking. But it's going to be it's going to be great. It's going to be great for LA. It's going to be great for the community. It's going to be great for the bragging rights. And to have these type of teams go at it like this on these levels that they've been playing on is great in itself. So I'm ready.
Do you think it's going to take a little bit of time in the first quarter to calm down because of the crosstown rivalry and its friends going against friends?
Yes. I think both. We've been talking about offense and defense. I think special teams is going to play a big part, especially when you're trying to get some field goals off if you get into these range, or punt return, field possession, going on each side of the football field. So because you have these explosive offenses, you want to definitely give them the long field instead of giving them a short field and get the ball out of their hands.
Alan, it could come down to whoever has the ball last.
Absolutely it can. And this is, you mentioned something, Stafon. I think that's such a key part. This is great for LA. To be this deep into the college football season, have a game at stake like this, to sell out the Rose Bowl like they are. Jim, it could come down to the final play. LA wins either way, but I know there's some rivalry between the schools.
You seem a little itchy here, my friend.
Yeah, you see me, Jim. I'm ready to go, man. I think I got a quarter in me. That's it.
Oh, he needs your help, but he's ready to go. All right, everybody, stay right where you are. Time now for our first break on this edition of Sports Central. When we come back right here on CBS 2, we're going to check in on the rest of the top four in college football playoffs, with number 3 Michigan and 4th-ranked TCU both in trouble late today. And Yorba Linda High School is on the Southern California Section Division Finals, and the Mustangs are in the house. We'll have that and more for you when we come back right here on CBS 2.
Play of the Day, sponsored by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
The jump pass from Derek Snell. Touchdown, Montana State, showing off the trickery. One tight end goes to another.
Sports Central is sponsored by Morongo Casino Resort and Spa.
Welcome back, everybody. The college football season is really hitting the home stretch now, with teams jockeying for spots in the college football playoff. The rest of the top 4 teams in the rankings also in action today, and here we go. Number 3, Michigan hosting Illinois. First quarter, there's no score. Blake Corum rushes in from 2 yards out for the touchdown, and the Wolverine fans of all ages are excited as they take a 7-0 advantage. You like that little one, don't you? Let's go to the third quarter now. Illinois trailing 10-3. Chase Brown runs 8 yards into the end zone, his 8th touchdown of the year. That ties the game at 10. And then later in the third, same score. Michigan decides to go for it on 4th and 6 from the Illinois 37-yard line, and Andrell Anthony drops back and would have been a touchdown. Drops the ball right through his hands. That's a turnover on downs, which is really amazing. Ensuing a line-out possession, Chase Brown does it again. Alan, how about this, Brown's performance today?
Unbelievable. 2 touchdowns right here. Gives them the lead. Illinois hanging with a powerful Michigan team. It's a beautiful run.
Yeah, Michigan with a minute left now, and the season on the line. 4th and 3. J.J. McCarthy finds Isaiah Gash 7 yards and a first down. 4 plays later, Jake Moody on to kick the 35-yard field goal. Here it is right here. And he gets it to go. Michigan beats Illinois 19-17 and remain undefeated for the season.
Just keep moving. I mean, I trust every single guy on this team, every 143 of us, and it's just honestly staying in the moment like I always preach. Next play mentality in the moment, and we got it done. Just got to get it for this guy. I mean, I knew he wasn't going to miss once we got it down there.
Meanwhile, 4th-ranked TCU on the road taking on Baylor. The Baylor Bears will pick it up in the 4th quarter. The Bears are trailing 20-14. Blake Shapen finds Kelsey Johnson 14-yard touchdown. Johnson's first collegiate touchdown, giving Baylor the lead at 21-20. And just over 2 minutes to go now. TCU trailing 28-20. Amari DeMarcado punches it in from 3 yards out to get to within 2 points of Baylor, setting up an important 2-point try. And the Horned Frogs go right back to DeMarcado, and he drops a wide-open catch that would have tied the game, and he just cannot believe it, and neither can we. TCU would get the ball back with 2 minutes left in the game. Max Dugan finds Tay Barber for 19 yards, and with no timeouts, TCU is playing in a hurry. This time, Duggan right here keeps it himself, gaining of 12 yards. TCU is non-field goal range, but they need to manage the clock. And 3 plays later, we see a strange sequence here as TCU elects to run the ball with no timeouts left. Stafon, what about that one?
I think the coach had a lot of confidence in their field goal team. They practiced the scenario game in, the game out. So for them to get the field goal off, the kicker to be poised enough to get it done, here it goes.
And they are able to really kick it off in time. It's good. TCU remains undefeated as they win by a score of 29-28.
Wow, you know, what a ball game, man. You got to give Baylor a ton of credit. They played their tails off. Our guys just never quit, man. They just believe in each other, and, you know, we were well prepared. We practiced that play every Thursday, and, you know, Griffin just came in, knocked it down, and it was, man, what a win.
Boy, what a win is absolutely correct, Stafon. TCU really pulled one out of the hat on that winning drive.
Yeah, they did. They did. Like I said, I think the coach kind of had their hopes up. They practiced that so many times in that scenario, that game-like type scenario, to get in there at this position, to center the field up off that run. They've seen a lot of things that they needed to do, get the ball snapped, kick it through. Man, I like the way they did it. That last drive definitely solidified why they're top 4 in the country.
Because, Alan, when you want to be in the top tier, the top echelon, you've got to do those kinds of things when it really matters.
And, you know, you're going to have weeks where it doesn't all go your way. You're supposed to win a game like that, but it's coming down the 4th quarter in the final couple of minutes. So, Jim, that is the difference of staying in that top 4 or having one loss on your resume.
And when you think about it, Michigan barely got by at home against Illinois as well.
They're probably thinking too much about Ohio State next week. By the way, Ohio State has been in a dogfight all day, so you're right. Michigan survived, and they give themselves that 0 on their record and live to see another day.
Goes back to special teams again, that last drive, being able to knock that field goal down at the end. The same things, same scenario. These top tier teams have to do the little things right in order to stay on top.
Do you have flashbacks when you see this now?
Absolutely. That's why I'm thinking off of the experiences. Knowing that Coach Carroll hounding in the little things into our heads in order to be in a top-notch, a top echelon of teams, we have to do the little things right. How to get out, how to get the snap together, how the kicker's supposed to be focused on the ball, and get it straight through the net, man. That's how we did it.
You better believe it, that's for sure. Ohio State in a battle with Maryland right now. We'll have those highlights when the game ends. Next week's Ohio State-Michigan game is really looming large in the playoff picture. That is for sure. All right, everybody, time now for another commercial break right here on CBS 2. When we come back, we're going to look ahead to Week 11 in the NFL with the Chargers and the Chiefs battling tomorrow night at beautiful SoFi Stadium. Plus, we're also going to look ahead to Week 11 in the NFL where the Rams are underdogs in the Big Easy for an early matchup against the last-place Saints. All that and more when we come back.
Playing with Passion, sponsored by Pacifico.
Got to be careful not to give up a 3 or foul here. Oh, my God! Cooper Robb hits a 3, a step beyond half court from the left side to win it.
What I've learned is that you have to be on all the time to communicate. And communicating isn't just transmitting information, talking. You know, it's a listening and being present with people. And I think the tougher it gets, the more connected you have to be with your people. And that's been how our season's been. And I think that's something I've learned, is when it gets tougher, you actually have to make it simpler and then keep the main thing the main thing. Make it about your relationships, make it about your standard of performance. And that's what's ultimately gonna get you back, bounce you back, and then get you headed, you know, where you ultimately want to go. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to go over what I think are accountability plays. All right, accountability plays. Okay, and then we'll show some good plays, but we're going to start with accountability.
All right, my friends, catch the latest episode of Chargers HQ tonight at 6:30 right here on CBS 2. This week's edition looks at the adversity of the early season, including key injuries and how the Chargers bounce back to remain in playoff chase. That is for sure. All right, my friends, the Chargers face a very tough and difficult task tomorrow when they play host to the division-leading Kansas City Chiefs at SoFi Stadium. It will be the Chargers' second straight game on Sunday Night Football. Last week, they lost to the San Francisco 49ers 22-16 after getting shut out in the second half. But some good news for the Chargers with receivers Mike Williams and Keenan Allen expected to return from injuries, providing a much-needed boost to the offense.
They mean a lot to us, more than just what happens on the field. Certainly, that's going to matter for a lot, but you know, they also count for a lot with our team chemistry and our leadership of our team. So they've got a lot of experience, made a lot of winning plays for us. So it was good to get them back out there and practice and get them into a rhythm.
I think they're two very talented receivers, and you know, if they are in the game plan, you know, there are going to be plays designed for them, and just like any other week, you know, they're a matchup, and to find those guys out on the field, they're going to make something special happen. So my job is just to get them the ball, whether they're out there or not. You know, we got guys that compete and push everything they've got, so it'll be good to see.
Now, this will be the fifth time Justin Herbert and Patrick Mahomes meet. While the Chargers have come away with wins in 3 of the previous 4 meetings, it's really hard to blame Justin Herbert. He has essentially matched Mahomes, posting an identical 10 touchdowns and 3 interceptions in those games. Meanwhile, during the week, week number 2, the Chiefs' victory over the Chargers, Derwin James kept Travis Kelce out of the end zone, body slamming him to the ground in a move that better resembles some wrestling, I guess you might say. Travis's brother Jason, center for the Eagles, asked him on their podcast, New Heights, presented by Wave Sports and Entertainment.
Are you going to wear your wrestling knee pads and boots in your preparation to see Derwin James again? You going to have your Rey Mysterio mask on?
I'm gonna have the leather diaper, my high leather boots, maybe some wristbands,
some elbow pads. Get the rock elbow pads. Yeah, baby.
If I get in the end zone, I might have to do the people's elbow now, man.
Are you going to try and jump over Derwin James again, maybe?
Me jumping over people is it's starting to kind of calm down.
You know what, Stafon? Derwin James is the heart and soul of the Chargers defense, and a play like that certainly shows why.
It brings intensity to the football field, for the football team, especially on the defensive end. You know, that riles everybody up when you have such a play like that. And that's the type of player that he is. You know, he's very aggressive and he's always around the football and he's always able to make a play. That's why they pay him the big bucks.
You like what you see when you watch him?
Absolutely. It reminds me of one of my all-time favorites in the late great Sean Taylor. Give you that same type of grit and can be able to blitz the football field and can stretch the football field from sideline to sideline and guard tight ends. And not too many people can hold Kelsey in the check besides somebody that has the athletic capabilities of Darwin James.
And Alan, I would imagine Justin Herbert has been really, really happy to see Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back.
Huge. And if you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to need some points. Let's use last week as an example. They put up 16 points in the first half. They didn't score again. And you said something earlier. You're right. It's not just on Justin Herbert. It's the weapons. He hasn't really had those weapons there. That also, when you have those threats with the receivers, that also helps your backfield. So it could ignite something. But if you're going to beat Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, you got to put some points up.
And also now opposing teams have more tape or film on people like Justin Herbert, so they know how they can try to stop and make adjustments to him.
But I think with these new resurgence of the receivers coming back from off of injury, it's going to help them out a little bit. You can't hone in on playing man-to-man or cover three anymore because you have to have these big-time receivers, that's out there that's making these different plays. So it's going to open up for other things like the running game. To be able to stop that, you got to be able to go back and forth on the running game and the passing game. So if we can get the running game going, get Eckler going, everything else I think will open up for
Alan, it's almost like the adjustments to the adjustments.
Absolutely. And listen, look, this is the Chargers. You go look at the standings right now in the AFC. It's a critical game. I mean, either the Chiefs run away with the division, and if the Chargers were to lose this one, you fall even further back than some of those teams in front of you just for a playoff spot.
And another team we want to talk about are the Rams, the defending champions. They head to New Orleans, where they will look to get back on track against the Saints, having lost 5 of their last 6 games. They will have to turn things around without Cooper Kupp, who was placed on injured reserve after having surgery on a high ankle sprain. Matthew Stafford will play after missing the Arizona game while in concussion protocol. The Rams 3-6 to start, tied for the worst by a defending Super Bowl champion. But the team is really trying to stay optimistic.
I think what you do is you want to make sure that you're consistent and steady with a lot of the different things that are going on. And, you know, the one thing that is important is how do you pour into these guys? How do you try to put them in the right spots? How do you handle the different moving parts as well as you possibly can? And that is important.
We're not out of it yet. Like, I mean, at least me, like, I'm a glass half full type person. Like, I don't think negatively about each situation that goes on. Like, there's a positive that can come out of everything, right? And there's still a lot of football to be played, and yeah, we are not, like, the reality is we're not where we want to be. That's reality, right? But last I checked, we still have a bunch of Sundays to play, and if we win out, I'm sure we'll go to the playoffs.
Now, we all know Cooper Kupp has meant everything to the Rams offense, accounting for nearly 40% of the team's receptions and receiving yards while scoring 6 of their 9 receiving touchdowns. The Rams scored 20 points or fewer in 7 of their 9 games, which is absolutely incredible. And Stafon, when you think about it, with Cooper Kupp out at least for the next 4 weeks, they're going to need some production from somebody. Somebody has got to step up. Not only somebody, but somebodies. They need plural.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a great challenge for Coach McVay to be able to try to solidify and move the ball around amongst all the rest of the different playmakers that they do have. It's time to get Van Jefferson involved. It's time to get Alec Robinson involved. These other different receivers that we have that we brought in to try to make some plays. Here's the time. Here's the time. We got Higbee over here that's making plays as well. So here's the time to try to show what you can do. And Matthew Stafford try to hold on to this lead so they can kind of get back in the swing of things, so I get back in the playoff picture.
And Alan, speaking of Matthew Stafford, we know he has really struggled this year, and and concussion protocol didn't help at all.
Yeah, that offensive line is everything. It's critical. He hasn't had a consistent offensive line all season. It certainly has affected Matt Stafford, and it's still just so weird to be talking about the Rams coming off a Super Bowl in February, and here we are, Jim, 3-6 on the season. The offense having trouble scoring. How quick that changed. Stafford's going to, as best as he can, like you mentioned, find different receivers. Allen Robinson just got paid this past offseason.
Yes.
Go earn your money now when Cooper Kupp's not there. See if you can spread that ball around.
Yeah, but when you do that, that creates even more time and places for error because everybody knows when Cooper Kupp is there, they want to try and get to Cooper. But now they're going to try and go to some other people and kind of spread it out a little more.
It's a little bit bigger of a threat, right? I mean, as great as Cooper Kupp is, and he's amazing, the percentages of 40% of the offense is going to one guy. Can you really win like that consistently? And maybe they kind of did win like that, last year, so I don't want to say too much to it. But on a more consistent basis, it would be nice if you have other weapons.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You better believe it, everybody. All right, what do you say we tell you this? Don't forget, a big doubleheader right here on CBS 2 tomorrow. It begins at 10 o'clock in the morning with the New England Patriots hosting the New York Jets in an AFC Eastern Division clash. Then at about 1:25, a potential playoff preview with the Minnesota Vikings hosting the Dallas Cowboys. And stick around for Sports Central after the games. All right, everybody, it just went final. The second-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes in Maryland taking on the Terrapins. Maryland playing strong, down 10-6 in the second quarter. On third and goal, Talua Tagovailoa finds C.J. Dupree in the end zone. The Terrapins go up 13-10 at halftime. In the second half, same score on 4th and 12. Maryland's punt is blocked by Lathan Ransom and recovered at the Terrapins' 14-yard line. That's Ransom's second block punt in as many games, setting up the Buckeyes inside the red zone. And 2 plays later on 2nd and 4, true freshman Dalen Hayden takes the handoff and finds the end zone for the score. That puts the Buckeyes up 17-13. To the fourth quarter we go now. Maryland now down 27-13. Tagovailoa keeps it himself and runs in for the 5-yard touchdown. Maryland is back in it, now down 21-27. But on the next drive, the Buckeyes are knocking at the door again. Hayden takes a handoff and fights his way into the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the day. Ohio State can go up 34-21 with the PAT and this.
And it is blocked. And here's the return. Bennett. It was going to be 2 one way, but instead 2 the other way.
Isn't that amazing? The Terrapins capitalize on the next drive on 4th and goal. Tagovailoa buys time and finds Justin Jones in the end zone for his 3rd touchdown of the day. Maryland now trailing 33-20. Maryland with one more shot, facing 2nd and 17 with 16 seconds left. Tagovailoa is stripped of the ball. And look at this. Zach Harrison and Steele Chambers right there. They steal it and seal the deal with a scoop and store. It's amazing. The Buckeyes survive a thriller, winning 43-30.
I thought we played well in the second half. The first half didn't think that was the case, but we'll go back and try to figure out why that was. But I thought we were gutsy, did a great job in the third quarter.
And from both of you, I'd like for both of you to talk about how wild that was what we just saw.
Yeah, Maryland came fighting. Maryland was definitely coming in to win that football game right there, and a little mixture of special teams and being able to have the defense score. They needed those type of things, and the offense kind of sputtered a little bit. I think a star is born in Hayden and a little running back from Ohio State, but got to clean things up. I don't think you can be in these dog fights with somebody that's like that.
I don't know if it's a coincidence, Jim, but Michigan struggled, Ohio State struggled. They both face each other next week. They're number 2 and number 3 in the country. I think there is something there. And you look at all 4 teams ranked 1 through 4. They were all in some dogfights this week, which I think it gives you some hope that you have no idea who's going to win the college football championship this year. It's very interesting what happened this week.
And when you talk about that Ohio State-Michigan game, there are multiple things that could decide that game one way or the other.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we talk rivalry. We know SC, UCLA, they're about to go at it. That's as good as a rivalry gets in sports. So I don't know if there'll be everyone's looking forward to that one. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. SC, UCLA, you've heard of that rivalry.
I heard of it very much so.
All right, everybody, stay right where you are because still to come with this edition of Sports Central, Tony Gwynn Jr. spent 8 years in the big leagues, including a stop with the Dodgers. We will visit with him in this week's edition of The Boys in Blue. And the Yorba Linda Mustangs are 13-0, a perfect 13-0, fresh off their win in the Southern Section Division III semifinals. They're in studio with us this afternoon. We're going to have that and a lot more when we come back right here on CBS 2.
Charged Up, sponsored by Action Ion Charged Alkaline Water.
Welcome back, everybody. Yorba Linda High School was certainly all charged up in the Southern Section Division III semifinals last night against Corona Del Mar, winning it 51-20 to advance to the finals, where they will play Upland. Running back Will Saucedo rushed for 127 yards and 3 touchdowns. And senior linebacker Wyatt Mosier had an interception and fumble recovery. And joining us now, Yorba Linda head coach Jeff Bailey and linebacker Wyatt Mosier. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. First of all, Coach, let's start with you. Have you gotten over how successful your team is? Because I know coaches like to always want to think about the present and forget about the past. But your past here has just been absolutely incredible.
Well, they're just a fun group to coach, so it's something where, obviously we're always building, but we're never satisfied. So they're going to be ready to prepare this week, and like they always do, and so I'm excited to be around them, and I'm excited to prepare this week.
And what a wonderful win for you last night, too.
Oh, it was fun. Yeah, they had a great week, and we executed so well, and it was fun to watch, man. It was exciting to see all guns a-blazing.
And what a wonderful performance by you too, White. It's really amazing. You're just continuing an impressive senior season.
Yeah, I mean, impressive maybe for people who watch, but stuff in practice, if you were to sit and watch, all of the guys are making plays because it's what we do every day. We come out no matter what school is like and try to put some work down on the field and better prepare for every opponent every week.
This is what I call coach to coach.
Absolutely, Coach. Absolutely. Kind of to piggyback off of what Jim was saying earlier, just how do you get these kids prepared week in and week out to keep getting that W, keep getting that win? What inspires you each week to get W's like 51-20 with the running clock in the fourth quarter? Well, we do have great leadership, like Wyatt, and we have a few other kids that we have 10 captains and 10 squad leaders, and they're all deserving of it, and they help the coach prepare, and they piggyback on what we're trying to teach, and so it makes it easy when you got guys like that. It's an outstanding group and fun to be around, man. They're just fun kids to hang out with, too.
It's always fun when you're perfect, and you're a perfect 13-0 going into next week's final against Upland. What do you need to do in order to really get the job done then?
I mean, it's going to be a different week. We don't have school. It is part of the break, but sticking to a routine that we've done for the previous 13 weeks, starting from last year, we don't lose a lot because we don't change a lot. We come in, week out, same practice time, same routine, and same result.
One of the things that's quite impressive about him, I noticed earlier, I was talking to him about, playing on the next level. I'd like for you to talk about the answer you gave me when I was talking to you about playing on the next level.
Yeah, just to reiterate, I said I'm looking forward to it, but right now it's about winning these games. Right now we're looking forward to Upland. After that, maybe some state games, and then after I'm done playing high school, it's to open up the opportunities, talk to some coaches, and see where I land. But for right now, it's just about getting this next W. And
Coach, that's one of the strong points about you individually and team-wise with him.
Well, definitely. Wyatt is someone who's focused on what he's doing. Someone's going to get a special kid down the road here, and what's exciting about Wyatt is he's a student of the game, man. He's faster by just seeing things, sooner because he's always prepared and he's always anticipating. And like I said, someone's going to get a special player. I don't know where he's going to go, but I'm telling you what, they're going to get a special one.
That's good. Hey, so I got a question. I know this is my first time not being in the playoffs during this time. So what's your advice when it comes to Thanksgiving? It's Thursday. You got all this food. You got the big fellas just want to eat out. You guys play this weekend. So what are some of your things you kind of tell them what to do?
It used to be the second round, but now it's the final. So
right.
If you're practicing on Thanksgiving, it's the best practice of the year because you're still playing.
Absolutely.
But no, we're going to do some things this week to prepare and keep it as normal as possible.
Yes.
So what's been exciting, even with the whole COVID thing, is just this group's kind of had to go through. There's always new things and different adversity, different challenges, and so they're kind of battle tested. So I have no doubt they'll be prepared. I have no doubt that their coach is going to get them ready to go. And like I said, the Thanksgiving practices are the best. So.
One final thing. What's the best thing about your team?
Ooh, I like the guys. I love playing with them. I played with them since I was a kid. I get to play with my little brother. That's always awesome. But just to be around them every day, I don't get sick and tired of them. I'd play football all day, all night, for the rest of the year with these guys because not only are they my teammates, but they're the same guys I have classes with. They are my friends. I'd fight with them in a parking lot if they needed it.
And that's why you're going to be champions.
That's what I'm talking
You better believe it. All right, and gentlemen, thank you so much for coming in.
Thanks for having us. Go Bruins.
Yeah. Whoa. A shot was fired across the bow.
It was here already, Coach. It was here.
Where'd you go? You know a little bit
I
about
played at UCLA, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm a little older, but yeah.
Get your pass.
equal opportunity, stuff like
yeah,
that.
man. I think that we both have we'll talk on this week.
Great. All right, everybody, coming up next on this edition of Sports Central, we'll talk some basketball. The Lakers have a win streak, if you can believe that. We're going to look at what's been going right for the purple and gold in the last 2 games, plus this.
I love my time in Los Angeles. I really enjoyed playing for Don Mattingly those 2-3 years.
A sit down with Tony Gwynn Jr. for this week's edition of The Boys in Blue. That and more when we come back right here on CBS 2. And welcome back, everybody. Tony Gwynn Jr. and his Dodger teammates had a lot of fun in 2011 when they wreaked havoc on the base paths, racking up 86 stolen bases. Gwynn also played for the Padres and is now an analyst for the team, getting to call the shocking upset over the Dodgers in this year's National League Division Series. He checks in now with our own Jill Painter-Lopez on what he takes from Vin Scully and the broadcasting for his career and more.
Boys in Blue, sponsored by Capozio Buick GMC.
Bases loaded. And he hits one to left field. It is going to be caught by Tony Gwynn to save the game. Oh, what an afternoon, an evening, and a night.
You played 2 seasons with the Dodgers. What are your lasting impressions of wearing that uniform with your name on the back of it?
I love my time in Los Angeles. I really enjoyed playing for Don Mattingly those 2-3 years. And I got to make some really good friends, some relationships that I still have to this day with Clayton and guys like Matt Kemp and Dee Gordon. And like I said, I truly enjoyed my time putting that uniform on.
In 2011, you guys were just absolutely dominant on the base paths. Matt Kemp with 40 stolen bases, Dee Gordon 24, you had 22. What can you point to as the success for mastering that art of the stolen bases and what that was like, to be so dominant that year?
Athleticism and Davy Lopes is really the answer. I mean, being able to run a little bit helps with that. Having some experience under my belt by the time I got to Los Angeles played a part, but Davey was the X factor.
Your dad, obviously a Hall of Fame player, but also a Hall of Fame person as well. What lessons do you take most from him that you use in your life?
The work you put in is what you'll get out. And that's across the board, whether it's baseball, whether it's, being a broadcaster. When you desire to be really good at something and you put the effort and work into it, it can take you anywhere.
After your playing career, you started your broadcast career with the Dodgers and then, of course, now an analyst on the radio team with the Padres. What has that experience been like for you?
It's been a lot of fun. To be able to sit in chair and talk about a game that I love dearly, but also be able to wash my hands with it at the end of the day and actually get a good night's sleep has been nice. It's been a nice transition.
Such a big series win for the Padres this postseason. You played for both organizations. What was that like for you to sit in that chair?
It was pretty spectacular. I mean, the Dodgers, if we're being honest, have been dominant, especially against the Padres. The Dodgers ran into a team that was hot and really took on the challenge of trying to take down the Dodgers. And, to their credit, they were able to do it.
Having played for a guy in Vin Scully that was calling the stolen bases that you were making and the hits and all the plays, what was that like? And what do you take from Vin Scully that you might use in your broadcasting life?
It's one of those voices that just sticks in your head. You can close your eyes and you can hear him talk. And getting a chance to be on a team in which he was calling games was awesome. And he was, Ben was a true gentleman. Is the best way I could describe him. I think what I take from him is his prep. I mean, if you had a chance to listen to him, it wasn't just about what was going on in the game. You could literally get to know a guy if the at-bat was long enough, and for some reason it always worked out where Ben could start a story with 2 strikes and he'd get through the entire story before the at-bat ended. he taught people a lot about players outside of their uniform. And, that's something that I think all broadcasters can take from and use in their own kind of way.
Oh, yeah, Vince Scully has helped us all. That is for sure. All right, everybody, stay right where you are. Still to come, Studs and Duds is on its way, including the Dwight Howard Show in Taiwan, when we come back right here on CBS 2.
He may go to the basketball here. Here he goes all the way. Throw it up, wanted AD, finds AD. Good night.
They let it go right down the floor, and Lonnie Walker.
The Lakers made it 2 straight wins, beating the Detroit Pistons 128-121 at Crypto.com Arena last night. Another big game for Anthony Davis, who finished with 38 points, 16 rebounds, and 4 block shots.
We got to get wins. The rest of the stuff will take care of itself. So, we can't get comfortable. We've been in this situation before. Lose 5, win 2, lose 5, win 2. So, got to put a string of wins together to get back in this thing. But we got to take it one game at a time.
He stayed the course and stayed aggressive, and 21 free throws. I think that's wonderful. And for him to knock 18 of them down, and just his presence, man. He's been a big force for us all year, and tonight was no different.
Now, Davis has 2 straight games with at least 35 points and 15 rebounds, reaching those marks in the same game for the 31st time in his career. Since 1981, only Shaquille O'Neal, Charles Barkley, Moses Malone, Karl Malone have done it more times. That's some impressive company. AD is the first Laker to have 35 and 15 in consecutive games since Shaq in 2000. Alan, that's incredible. That really is.
He has these stats, 75 points and 34 rebounds in his last 2 games. But, Jim, I don't want to downplay it too much, but the Lakers need Anthony Davis to be a top 7 player in the NBA. If they got any shot of doing anything, I want the storyline to be on Anthony Davis. Not that he did these last 2 nights or these last 2 games. I want it to be that, hey, Anthony Davis didn't have one of those games, and that you just got to have more consistent basketball from AD if they really are going to compete this year. They're 4-10. You heard AD say it. If you're going to make some noise, you can't do this lose 5, win 2, lose 5, win 2. See if they could go on a run here.
And then there's Lonnie Walker IV and Austin Reeves, both playing really key roles right now.
They've been amazing. Lonnie Walker IV, I don't know what a lot of Laker fans thought when he signed with the Lakers, but 16.5 points a game is what he's averaging. He's been just fantastic. Austin Reeves, we had a chance last year to see him, so I think it's a little bit more expected. You can't win in the NBA without good role players. Those are 2 guys that have been delivering every single night.
Do you see all of these roles now being defined, especially with LeBron out?
I think so. I think it's there. Now, you just added Dennis Schroeder is back. Thomas Bryant came back yesterday as well. So we're going to see kind of how they fit in. Russ is obviously coming off the bench. Russ is off the bench, and that's solidified. There is no having him in the starting lineup. So I think you're starting to see that. Critical stretch for the Lakers here. They have some teams they're playing that are below 500. If you want to creep back to 500, you got to do it here in these next 7-8 games or so.
And it's going to take a lot of hard work. That is for sure. All right, my friends, time for another commercial break. When we come back, how about we're going to bring Stafon back for Studs and Duds, including a relay race breaking out in the stands at an empty Kyle Field. All that and more when we come back. All right, everybody, welcome back. It's time now for Studs and Duds. We're going to have some fun today. Vanderbilt beat Florida 31-24 with even the long snapper, Wesley Schilling, scoring on a fumble punt. Can you believe that? It was the first win of over the Gators since 1988 and the Commodores' first consecutive SEC victories since 2018. So, look at this. The fans decided to storm the field, but in a more organized fashion, a more polite fashion. That's really amazing, Stafon.
Organized noise in Nashville, man. That's a great win for the Vandals, man. That's really perfect for them to get that W out there. The back-to-back games in the SEC, man, that's pretty good.
And when you think about what we were just saying, it took some time to kind of organize that thing, too.
Single file line. Let's get everyone behind each other. Let's get some order here.
Okay, it's been a bad year for Texas A&M, and it was this crowd after halftime of their win over UMass. Get this. The announced crowd was over 90,000 people. These guys made the best of it though running a relay through the. They ran a relay through the stands.
They were just trying to tell you how many people wasn't there. It was 90,000 people that wasn't there.
Yeah, Stafon, if we're doing that, I'm going to tell you, slow down, man. You're going too fast for me.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to get my relaying time.
Because we've seen here recently some really cool reactions by fans in the stands. All right, switching from college football to basketball in Taiwan, Dwight Howard, remember him? Made his debut, and it was an incredible one. He had 38 points, 25 rebounds, making 2 of 10 three-pointers, with the crowd going crazy the whole time.
I think it's so cool. I think it is. You know, let him enjoy himself at this stage of his career. He's a Hall of Famer, and they obviously love watching him. He's one of the NBA greats.
Like the Monstars.
Yeah.
Like Space Jam. He's out there doing everything, man, shooting and dunking.
That's right. If he had done that with the Lakers, he'd still be here. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Central Saturday. So far, Stafon and Alan, I'm Jim Hill, saying thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time right here on CBS 2. So long, everybody.